What's up everybody, thank you so much for coming by this channel's very first tutorial. A lot of you guys might know me from twitch.tv and I'm going to show you my OBS stream settings. Let's go. Alright, the first thing you're going to want to do is download OBS. Google OBS or Open Broadcast Software. Once you have it downloaded, open it up. It'll look something like this. I already have a scene created just for this video. It's a nice cup of coffee, a nice cup of Joe. So this is what we're going to be working with. I'm just going to show you guys the settings. Later on in another video, I'll show you guys a little bit about my scenes and what I put in each of my scenes and how to do that. But for this video, we're just going to be using this simple image here and going to the settings button. So before you can stream or do anything at all, click this settings button here. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you. You're going to have two options up here that you're going to change if you want to. The default setting for language is English, I believe, and the default setting for theme is this. The default setting for theme is a white theme. I prefer the dark theme, so I just have it set to dark. You're going to hit apply and then go to the next tab. The next tab is the stream tab. You have stream services up here. Next, if you want, make sure you check this show all services box. Now that will enable all of these different types of servers. For my videos and my streaming, I do Twitch. So I stream to Twitch, therefore it is Twitch. You can stream to YouTube, anything like that too, but for this video, Twitch it is. Server. I live in Philadelphia, so this list here of all of these different servers, you're going to want to select the one that's closest to you. I can select New York. Sometimes you'll have two, sometimes you'll have one, depends where you live. I'm pretty close to New York. When I first started streaming, I started streaming with the New York server, but you might see that some servers might have overload at certain times, so in that case, you pick the next best server, which in my case was Ashburn, Virginia, and I've been using it ever since. Okay, that server. Next thing, stream key. This is what separates your stream from everyone else's stream in the world. And it's secret, so make sure you don't show it to anybody. So I'll show you how to get that. Open up your Twitch dashboard. All right, you're going to go down on the left pane here. It says settings, click settings. Scroll down all the way to stream preferences. Click stream key. Once you click stream key, you click show key. Now, like I said, this is private. You don't want anybody else seeing this, so don't ever do this on stream or recording or anything like that. Never share your stream key with anyone or show it on stream. Exclamation point. It's very important. So show key. Once you've done all that, make sure it's hidden, make sure nobody else can see it, click I understand. I'm not going to click I understand because I just told you how important it was to keep it secret. Once you click I understand, it's going to pop up with a code. That code, you're going to copy it and paste it right here. You can click show code just to make sure it's the right code that you're copying and pasting. And then a little tip here, just make sure there aren't any spaces here at the end. Sometimes I have copied it and it's copied a space along with it. Just make sure you delete it because it won't work if there's a space in there. Click apply. And then the next tab is the output tab. So when you first open up OBS, your output tab is going to have a simple look to it. It's going to be under the simple option, but as long as you're watching this video, you can click the advanced option. All right, next order of business. There are three tabs: streaming, recording, and audio. I'm not going to get into this, and I'm not going to get into audio. I typically don't mess with audio at all. And we're not recording right now, but if you're somebody that likes recording and uploading your videos to YouTube or Twitch, you would go here, pick a file, and all of that stuff. I don't really use it too much. I just stick with the streaming tab. Next, you're going to go to audio track. Leave this at 1. I've never changed this. It's only ever been at 1 for me, so that should be it by default. Next is encoder. Okay, you have two options here. You have NVENC H.264 and X264. I've only ever used X264. I know there's some long jargon about NVENC and how it can help you if you have a low processor. If that is the case, they have tons of videos all over the internet of which encoder to choose. But for this video specifically, and if you're streaming to Twitch, do X264. Enforce streaming service encoder settings, make sure that's checked off. Rescale output, make sure this is not checked. Make sure it is not checked. If it's not checked, it'll kind of be darkened. If it is checked, it'll kind of light up a little bit. Just make sure that's unchecked. If it is checked, it means OBS will probably be working a little harder, and you don't want that when you're streaming. Next is rate control, CBR, ABR, VBR, CRF. I leave mine at CBR. I find CBR to be the best one. You can look online and they'll say CBR is the best one. That's typically just what I use for my research. Bitrate. Bitrate is determined by a few different things. Bitrate is determined, one, whether you're not an affiliate, whether you're an affiliate, or if you are a partner, because all of those have different things. I am an affiliated streamer on Twitch, therefore I do get encoder settings. Those encoder settings make your stream visible to the world, okay? If you have encoder settings, you can have a higher bitrate and allow your viewers to choose a lower bitrate based on their internet. But for now, 6,000 is the max bitrate you can have as an affiliated or unaffiliated streamer on Twitch. If you are partnered, you can increase that, but for this sake, I'm affiliated, so the max that I can do is 6,000. My setting specifically is 5,500. Now, bitrate also has to do with your internet connection, okay? If you have a bad internet, you might not be able to have a 5,500 bitrate. Go to speedtest.net, you hit this go button. It will figure out your ping, it will figure out your download, and it will figure out your upload. Okay, now I'm using this over Wi-Fi. If you are streaming, I highly recommend streaming over Ethernet because you'll get a more solid stream. It won't drop out and all of that stuff. And everyone in your house won't be feeding from that same connection. But my upload is 12.16 Mbps. Now that means my bitrate can be 12,000. I'm not going to use 12,000 because the max I can use is 6,000. So what 12.16 means is that I can safely use the 6,000 bitrate, but I'm going to use lower because I want people to actually view my stream. If you are somebody that has an internet speed of like 3 Mbps, then you're going to want to choose a lower one and make this right here like 2,300, something like that, something below 3,000 bitrate. Just so it works with your internet, and then you'll be good. And you can still get a very crisp stream from 2,300. It's all about just finding that sweet spot for your stream specifically based on your internet and based on your PC software, PC hardware. So I'm going to put this back to 5,500 where I keep it. The next important thing is keyframe interval. I think Twitch keeps it at 2, so that's fine there. CPU uses preset. This is enormous. This is a huge thing. This will be determined whether you have an i3, an i5, an i7, how many cores you have, all of that stuff. The higher this is, the less CPU will be used. So I currently have an i7. It's got like 8 cores or something like that. So I use medium. If you have an i3, an i5, an i7, or if you stream and game from the same PC, then you might want to look at very fast or faster. These two options are what I used when I streamed from a single PC, but I have a dual stream PC set up now. So I'm able to push more on my CPU when using OBS on my stream PC. But for my settings, I use medium. Like I said, if you do stream and game from the same PC, you can use very fast and faster. But for this, I'm going to use medium. Profile main. This basically just means where OBS is going to rank in the resources being pushed out from your CPU. I think it's main by default. It's either main by default or none, but I've always had it on main. Sometimes I'll push it to high since I have a dual stream PC set up, but I will keep it on main for now. Tune, I leave this at none. I've never even messed with any of this stuff. It kind of looks confusing, so I'm not even going to mess with that. I've always kept it at none. Okay, once we got all that, hit apply. Then you go to audio. I typically don't mess with anything under the audio tab. The two things that I do mess with though is the desktop audio device. You just want to make sure this is your default desktop device. If you don't know what your default desktop device is, you go down to the right corner, you right click. Now you can't see it because it's behind me, but you right click on the little sound icon, hit playback devices, and then from here you'll be able to see what your default sound is. Most people should know how to do this, but if not, you can just right click whatever you want your default sound to be, make that default. Like right now I have my sound bar as my default device, therefore that's what it is. That's what all my audio is going to play through. Once that's set, you go to here, and then this just means that everything coming from my PC, all the sound on my PC is going to be played to OBS through the default device and out to everybody in the world watching my stream. The next thing on this tab is the mic auxiliary audio device. Now, my microphone is labeled microphone, but you might have like your Razer headphones, other microphones, all of that stuff. Just make sure whatever you're talking into is selected here under mic. So those two tabs, default, microphone, good to go. Okay, hit apply. I didn't change anything, so I can't hit apply. The next most important thing is video, okay? So your base canvas is basically this right here. What you see on OBS is your base canvas. What matters here is the output resolution. So remember back here when I said do not check this rescale output, that's because it's already going to be scaled here, okay? So right now I have mine scaling to 720p. You'll see streamers with 1080p, 900p, and 720p. A lot of streamers use 720p because it can still look crystal clear without destroying your bitrate and without making your stream inaccessible to other people trying to watch your stream. So 720p. I know Co-Carnage uses 1080p. King Gathalion uses 900p. Those two can use those because you can use a higher bitrate for that, and they have stronger PCs for that type of stuff. But if you are streaming off of one PC, your PC's not crazy powerful, I recommend going 720p. Tim the Tapman, who's one of the most famous streamers on Twitch, he uses 720p, and it looks just fine. So 720p is what I stream with right here. You have other options here, but like I said, I want to go that. The downscale filter. There are 3 options here. One is bilinear, fastest but blurry if scaling, which we are scaling because we're going down to 720p. Bicubic, which is sharpened scaling, 16 samples, and Lanxos, which is sharpened scaling even more, 32 samples. I use bicubic because it's kind of right in the middle. I don't want my image to look blurry, so I don't use bilinear. I just use bicubic, keep it at that. The next important thing is common FPS values. Most people can stream at 30 frames per second. I have a dedicated streaming PC, so I use 60. If you are noticing that your CPU is just being pounded by all the resources from OBS, try going from 60 to 30. You'll get a better image, and honestly, this jump from 30 to 60 kills your processor. It takes up a lot of resources. But me specifically, I use 60 because I have that dual PC stream set up. Base canvas 1920 1080, output scaled resolution 1280 720, and downscale filter bicubic, and common FPS 60. That's me. Like I said, if you want to, use 30. All right, go ahead and hit apply. Hotkeys, this is basically just whatever you guys want to use. I mean, I set a few hotkeys just so I can like mute my mic, for instance, have pop-ups on stream. You can key this to any key combination on your keyboard. I have a Stream Deck, so I just kind of integrate all that together. I mute my mic if somebody comes into the stream room and all of that stuff there. So that's for you to mess with. I won't go into detail with that. Okay, this advanced tab. I don't mess with too much on here. I, in fact, haven't touched anything in this video section, audio section, recording section, stream delay, automatic reconnect. I don't mess with any of that. That's all default. This is the only spot that I would say change if you want to change it. You don't have to change it, but if you were going to, basically you have high, above normal, normal, and idle. Basically, this is what determines how OBS is ranked in the resources that are going to be distributed to it from the CPU. Okay, most of the time by default it should be at normal. If you have a dedicated stream PC, you can make it high. That just means you'll get more resources dedicated to OBS and get it to run a little bit better. But normal runs just fine for a lot of people. So just hit apply, and then we're good. So guys, those are literally all of the tabs. These are all my settings that I use. Like I said, there are some things you touch, some things you leave fine, some things you leave default. Really, the biggest difficulty you'll face is just kind of finding what works for you. These are the settings that I use. I've been using these for about 7 months now, and I find these settings to be the best optimal settings for my streaming. These get my viewers the best possible picture while allowing my computer to actually run properly. But it's all determined with PC power, network, and all of that stuff. So some people might have different settings. After going through all of those tabs, like I said, this video is to show you what my setup looks like, what my OBS setup looks like. I hope you guys found some help with this. I hope you guys found some guidance with this. You're good to start streaming. I hope I helped you out a little bit. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. There are going to be tons of more tutorials. I'll go into my scenes. I'll go into the Streamlabs OBS integration pretty soon once that gets ironed out. That being said, guys, thank you so much for coming by the video today, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.